Have you ever stopped to admire the rings inside a tree stump? While they may just look like lines in wood, these rings are actually nature's time capsules, recording the story of our planet's past. Each tree is a living historian, storing centuries of climate data within its very structure. Scientists have developed a field of study called dendrochronology, which uses tree rings to unravel the mysteries of Earth's climate history. But how exactly do trees hold this information? Let's embark on a journey to discover how these natural record keepers help us understand past environments, extreme weather events, and even predict future climate trends. Every year, a tree adds a new layer of growth just beneath its bark. These layers form concentric rings, with each ring representing a single year of growth. The lighter portion of the ring, called earlywood, grows during the spring and is made up of cells that form quickly with ample water and nutrients. The darker portion, known as latewood, develops later in the growing season when growth slows down. Together, these two parts make up a complete annual ring. But tree rings don't just tell us a tree's age, they tell a story. Their width, density, and even chemical composition reveal past environmental conditions. Wide rings indicate years of abundant rainfall and warm temperatures, meaning the tree experienced a favorable growing season. Narrow rings suggest difficult conditions, such as drought, extreme cold, or nutrient shortages. The density of latewood, the darker section of the ring, is particularly useful for understanding past temperatures. In warm years, trees produce denser latewood, while cooler summers result in lighter, less dense growth. By analyzing these patterns, scientists can reconstruct past climate conditions with remarkable precision.
Not all trees record climate data in the same way. Some trees are more sensitive to environmental changes than others. Scientists often focus on trees in extreme environments, where growth is closely tied to climate factors. In temperate regions like North America and Europe, temperature is the key driver of tree growth. Cold years slow down growth, while warm years accelerate it. In arid regions like deserts, rainfall is the main factor controlling ring width. A dry year results in a thin ring, while a wet year produces a much wider one. In tropical rainforests, where growth happens year-round, trees don't form distinct rings. Instead, scientists rely on chemical analysis of the wood to study past climate conditions. By choosing the right trees, researchers can gather the most reliable climate data from different parts of the world.
We're trying to identify patterns in wide and narrow rings. You can kind of think of that as a barcode in the food that you might buy in the store. Trees in an area are going to have not exactly the same pattern, but a similar pattern of wide and narrow rings, just like that barcode. We get to the point where we can just look across a sample and say, okay, there's 1580 and there's 1735. We know where those difficult years are.
But how do scientists piece together climate history from tree rings? One of the most important methods they use is called cross-dating. By aligning patterns of wide and narrow rings across multiple trees, researchers can extend climate records far beyond the lifespan of a single tree, sometimes spanning thousands of years. Some of the oldest tree ring records come from ancient wood found in archaeological sites, or even sunken logs buried in lakes and rivers. In places like the American Southwest, tree ring data has been used to date ancient Puebloan structures with remarkable accuracy, linking historical climate changes to human civilization. This image shows a reconstruction of drought conditions in the U.S. Southwest from 1275 to 1290 using tree ring data. Scientists studied the width of tree rings to understand the past climate. In this time span, rings were much smaller, indicating a lack of water. The colors on the map represent drought severity based on tree ring widths, red and orange showing dry conditions and blue indicating wetter years. Over this 16-year period, most years were dry, which likely contributed to the ancestral Pueblo people abandoning their homes at Mesa Verde. This demonstrates how tree rings help scientists understand how climate affected ancient civilizations.
Once scientists have gathered tree ring data, they compare it with modern climate records to ensure its accuracy. This process, called calibration, allows them to reconstruct past temperature and precipitation patterns with confidence. But there's even more information hidden within the wood. By analyzing the chemical composition of tree rings specifically, oxygen and carbon isotopes, scientists can determine past rainfall levels, temperature variations, and even atmospheric carbon dioxide concentrations. These chemical clues offer an even deeper understanding of how Earth's climate has changed over time. This map shows the Yamal Peninsula in northern Russia, near the Kara Sea. The colored areas likely represent locations where scientists collected tree samples for study. The inset globe shows the location of the Yamal Peninsula within Russia. Tree rings from this region help scientists understand climate patterns over thousands of years. The x-axis shows years from 2500 BCE to 2000 CE, meaning this data spans over 4,500 years. The y-axis represents the number of tree samples, sample depth. Two lines, green and blue, indicate different data sets for larch and spruce. When the lines are higher, more samples were available. This graph tells us how much tree ring data was available over time, with more data in recent centuries. The top red bars show the frequency of frost rings, which occur when trees experience extreme cold. More frost rings suggest colder periods. The bottom blue bars show density fluctuations, which could indicate changes in temperature, precipitation, or other environmental factors. Scientists use these patterns to reconstruct past climates and understand how the environment has changed over thousands of years. This matters because tree rings are natural time capsules, recording past climates and extreme weather. Studying tree rings helps scientists understand long-term climate changes, including ice ages and warming periods. In the next graph, we can see some major historical climate events because of tree ring data. This research is useful for predicting future climate trends and their effects on ecosystems. Tree rings have helped scientists uncover significant climate events in Earth's history. For example, tree rings reveal evidence of the medieval warm period, 900–1300 AD, a time of unusually warm temperatures that coincided with the expansion of civilizations in Europe. Conversely, they also show the Little Ice Age, 1300–1850 AD, when colder temperatures led to crop failures and harsh winters. Tree rings have even recorded volcanic eruptions. When a massive eruption occurs, it spews ash and sulfur into the atmosphere, blocking sunlight and causing temporary cooling. Scientists have pinpointed major volcanic events like the eruption of Mount Tambora in 1815 by identifying sudden drops in tree growth caused by the cooling effect of volcanic dust.
So next time you see a tree stump, remember, you're looking at a history book written by nature itself. These living archives hold invaluable information about our planet's past, helping us understand long-term climate patterns and the impact of human activities. If you're curious about how scientists unlock Earth's climate secrets, why not explore dendrochronology? Who knows, you might be the one to discover the next big climate clue hidden in the rings of a tree.